The problem is you have to remove or install a transmission. Transmissions can be very different depending on the type of car and model. Also, it can be a very difficult and sometimes unsafe task. This type of transmission jack is very typical. They definitely have some downfalls. These brackets on top don't really fit well onto the modern style transmissions with the larger pans, and it can be very difficult to secure the transmission, and it's somewhat unsafe to try to balance it and or secure it on top of these things. In addition to that, as these jacks get older, they get a lot of play in the cylinder and start leaking from the seals. Even if you spend a full day disassembling and replacing the seals, because of the play in the cylinder, over time it just starts leaking again. Other heads, like this one, that's designed to go onto a floor jack, is not very friendly because you're laying down on the ground underneath the car and definitely not suitable for a professional shop. The solution is the AGA Transmission Jack Head. We have worked with many shops and techs on designing a transmission jack head that is very universal, supports a wide variety of transmissions, as well as secures it onto the head very well during removal and installation. If you're using the jack head in combination with the lift table, you simply take one of the long adapters up and place it towards the center of the table. Make sure to always use 2 bolts and firmly tighten down the adapter. Next, you take the supplied transmission extension tube, remove it from the table, and install it on the top like that. Then, simply, you slide on the transmission jack adapter on top like that. Because the table has more mass and the footprint is larger than the typical transmission jack, it makes it a very stable platform to work on. In addition to that, it just happens that this table surface like this provides a great place to put down tools and fasteners as you're moving components off the transmission. In addition, the table has some really nice features for doing transmission removal. You can use the hand control and remotely operate it like this while you're up there pushing wiring harness or cooler lines out of the way. And it has a adjustable speed control for how fast you're lowering it. And that works whether you're activating it from the handle or the foot pump. Because it's a monodirectional valve, you can always raise the table at full speed. If you don't have the lift table and want to continue using your existing transmission jack, whether it's this style or a different one, simply take the head off and you can take advantage of the extra features of the AGA jack head, and it fits right onto your existing jack like that. If your transmission jack is different, simply send us the dimensions of the diameter and the depth like this. Chances are we already have an adapter in stock. If not, we'll make you one so you can use a jack head. However, if your transmission jack is leaking and due for a rebuild, instead of putting the money into that, you might consider getting the lift table and be able to do engine and transmission installation safely. Let's take a closer look at how the jack head works under the car. Because everything happens under the transmission, we have made all the adjustments and all the hardware available from the bottom where the technician is, and it's in clear view. You start with coming up and get the flat portion of the head as centered on the transmission as possible. Then tighten the tilt from here. Next, you slide in the side rail until it makes contact to the transmission. Then tighten the fasteners. Do not use electric or air tools because they'll damage the threads over time. Next thing is take the slide and bring it all the way back till it makes contact to the corner of the transmission housing. This locks the transmission in a front to rear direction. Now do the same on the opposite side. Loop the supplied ratcheting tether over the transmission and cinch it down. You can now safely lower the transmission. If you need to tilt it as you come down, simply turn the crank handle right here to tilt. If you're doing an 8 HP transmission, which is in a lot of the BMWs now, make sure that you remove these side rails. You do not want to make contact to the bottom of the transmission directly on this pad. Because the transmission has a plastic pan, the weight of the transmission will damage the pan and could cause big problems down the road. Here you have to use the 8 HP transmission pan adapter. It's designed to go around the plastic pan and only touch directly on the housing. This bolts with the supplied fasteners right onto the top of the transmission adapter like this. Here we have another variation that happens to be a Ford transmission with a big bump. And we really put a lot of effort into making this jack head universal. You can see here how wide of a range it has, and it can cradle all the way over to here and still capture the transmission like this with the blocks on either end, making it very, very stable with the strap over to secure the transmission. And the fact that it is so universal reduces the need of you having to fabricate and make your own adapters for whatever transmission. That is really time consuming. This heavy duty product is made 100% in the USA and has a mill-spec coating. I hope you found this information useful. To get more information on this product, go to agatools.com. As always, thanks for watching, and please remember to subscribe.